I want you to think about something. It matters. Of the two, because I compare often, the fan bases I compare often, and that is Cowboys fan base and the Texas fan base. Very, very similar. And that is the assumption and the belief that the team is always probably going to be better than it really is, or the assumption and the belief that the team is going to be worse than it really is. There's just no... I know every fan has a right to go up and down. That's cool. I don't know of two that can be more delusional than Texas and Cowboys fans. Okay, so I want you to keep that in mind as I present this to you, because I think it's... I think people might disagree with me here, but let's try it. Of the two, Dallas or Texas? Of the two, which is facing more win-now pressure? Win-now is next year. Dallas or Texas? Of the two, okay? Of the two, which faces more win-now pressure? Of the two, which coach faces more win-now pressure? Mumbling Mike McCarthy or Steve Sarkisian? I think a lot of people could argue that they're fairly close. That's fine. It's an interesting way of looking at them. I've thought about this. No, I didn't think about this before I saw this clip. Sal Paolantonio on ESPN. I really find myself probably even ahead of Cowboys fans in saying how good I think that roster is. I mean, I'm almost getting sick of it. I mean, called a face painter and you suck. I mean, you're a homer for the Cowboys. I mean, I'm getting it all. But I think I'm pretty objective about things. And I find that to be a really good roster. Sal Paolantonio on ESPN sets up some of this argument about pressure to win now, coaching pressure to win now.
Well, I think everything is at stake for the Cowboys. There's no question about it. I think that's where Mike McCarthy is taking the reins in the offensive play calling. And what he's specifically trying to do is make sure that Dak Prescott is protected properly, that he knows the protection schemes. And that's one of the things that Mike McCarthy was very good at with Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. You know, Dak Prescott, when he gets to the line of scrimmage, has to make sure he has the right protection and he has the right play call so he can get in and out of the play, and it's snap to release. Snap to release, just like Brady. It has to be 2 seconds, 2.1, 2.3 seconds. Don't hold on to the football. Don't take the hits. Don't be looking outside the hash marks, as you saw with that interception against the San Francisco 49ers. In critical situations, you got to make sure that you're protecting the football down the stretch in critical situations and in the red zone. And I think that's one of the things that McCarthy has always done when he has been in charge of the offense. And that's why you go get Brandon Cooks.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep. Brandon Cooks
is key. Option routes in the middle of the field. Line him up in the slot. Make sure you know where he's going. They're going to be working on it during training camp. Hand signals, eye signals. Hey, if I see this, I want you to go to the hash mark. If I see that, I want you to go to the boundary. Make sure they're on the same page so that he can get the ball and his hands out of his quick.
And what you're talking about is communication, actually, right? Because that was a major
issue
last year. We saw it against Green Bay, actually, where they really struggled. It was on display.
Well said. I can easily add to this equation because the similarities between the two professional teams, they don't stop at win now for the franchise. They don't stop at win now for the two coaches. They don't stop at win now for the two quarterbacks. I mean, think how similar we look at the two of them. Dak Prescott, again, face of the franchise. He's not. Jerry Jones is actually the face of the franchise. A really old face that's cracking, but it's still face of the franchise. Dak Prescott was mistake prone. I mean, at times it's pretty good. At times it is awful. At times his mistakes are killer mistakes. What do people talk about? Well, as he goes, so go the Cowboys. Well, guess what? What do people say about Texas? Rightly say about Texas. Well, at times, Quinn Ewers was really good, really accurate. He can be. He's a really good thrower, blah, 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 blah. And at times, he was a train wreck who should have been pulled. His mistakes aren't just mistakes. They're killer mistakes. As he goes, so goes Texas. They're both good rosters with very, very similar dramatic setups. win now. Coach, win now. Quarterback, win now. So on a win now scale for Dallas, I know this is going to seem weird. I have a very particular take on Dallas. Win now scale of Dallas, going 1 to 10, I'm going to say win now is 9. On the win now scale for Texas, I'm going to say it's a 6 or 7. I'll explain. But I don't think they each franchise faces the same kind of judgment of win now. Man, I think this is it for Dallas. I really do. So I put Dallas on a scale of 9. I put Texas in 6 or 7. On the win scale now for Mike McCarthy, Mumbling Mike, it is absolutely 10. 10. Now we got to figure out the measurement of what win now is. But it's Mike McCarthy is at a 10. Steve Sarkisian, I think in the win now scale, I'm going to say he's probably at around a 7. I think he gets some breaks. I think he gets benefit of the doubt. I don't think he faces the same kind of judgment that Mumbling Mike McCarthy does. Both are good, but they're good rosters for who they are and where they are. Dallas is better. Dallas is a better roster. I'm not comparing the two teams. I'm saying where they are in programs. Both have to be better than a year ago. Any step back is inexcusable. Inexcusable. Coach and quarterback deserves a ton of blame if they step back. Inexcusable. There's no way either of those franchises can step back. It would be, the criticism can't come hard enough if either of them step back. But the thing is, for Texas, it's easy. It's pretty easy. And I'll tell you why. The over-under, I think, is around 9 for Texas. That should be easy. I mean, they returned everybody not named Bijan Robinson from an underachieving team a year ago. But they have, here's what they have. They have built-in wins. A bunch of built-in wins. They don't have to be very good, and they got built-in wins. They got Rice, Wyoming, Baylor, Kansas, Houston, BYU at home, and Iowa State. That's 7 built-in wins. You don't win all 7 of those, you suck. You're going to get it. You're taking a step back. The games they should win, Oklahoma and Texas Tech. I'm not going to go so far as to say they're built in, although you saw that Oklahoma team. They're awful. They're trash on defense. Absolute trash. This is not talking about Oklahoma from a few years ago. So games they should win, that's Oklahoma, Texas Tech. Tell me of those 9. I'm not even saying that Texas has to be that good. That's 9. That's 9 right there, man. Kansas State, I'll say, is a toss-up. Fair enough. And then Alabama on the road is probably a loss. Texas will be favored in 11 of 12 games. And it might be double digits on 9 or 10 of those. 9 wins. 9 wins is kind of a buzzkill, but 9 wins for Texas is good enough to keep most fans and media content. I think that. 8 wins, I think Steve Sarkisian keeps his job. It's an underachieving it would be an 8-win underachieving season. It'd be pretty ridiculous, but he keeps his job, I think. A 7-win season, and he should be fired. No questions asked. Done. Good night. Get out of here. That's a deal breaker. I could argue. I might argue along the way that 8 isn't enough, but it's built in. It's easy. Everything about Dallas, though, is win now. The first question, of course, is, well, Jeff, I mean, what does that really mean? I'll tell you what I think that means for Dallas. I think is going too deep in the playoffs enough? No, that's not enough. Win now for Dallas, assuming they stay mostly healthy. You know, you get a few injuries and then, you know, all bets are off. But win now for Dallas is this. Dallas should play, laugh at me all you want. Go ahead and start laughing. Call me face painter, all this stuff I keep hearing. Dallas should play for the NFC Championship game next year. I'm not kidding. I said it. I'll go even further just scream at me all you want. This is how much pressure I think is on Dallas. And I'll make a case this is how good Dallas is. Dallas should not just be in the NFC Championship game next year. Dallas should be very competitive in the NFC Championship game next year. That's what I mean by win now. Now, you may see win now differently than I do. I see win now for Texas exactly the way I described. I see win now for Dallas as it is an NFC Championship game or bust. I really do. And you should be competitive. Not making the NFC Championship game is unacceptable. Not winning 9 or more at Texas, unacceptable. It's a bad year. And I think the window for Dallas almost shuts. And I'll make the argument why I feel the window is closing. It's a very tight window. If this Dallas roster, okay, here comes, call me face painter again. I would never paint my face. I don't think anyone above the age of 14 should wear a team jersey either, by the way. But if the Dallas roster of today plays San Francisco tomorrow, and that game is in Dallas, I think they might win. If the Dallas roster of today, this Dallas team of today, goes to Philadelphia tomorrow, I think they lose. I don't think it's a blowout. I don't. So why the pressure? Okay. Here's why I think the window is closing. Why I think the pressure is really ramped up on Dallas more so than Texas. Okay, why the pressure? The first one's obvious. It's obvious. The owner is the face of the franchise. It is an old face. Have you seen it? It's a 100-year-old face. It's like a 110-year-old face. It's like a face in dog years. He's running out of chances, and it matters. And let me tell you why I think that matters. I think he feels it. He should feel it. Here's why it matters. You can hear it and will hear it in the way he talks on his 15 or 20 different talk shows, which will translate into public pressure on his coach and quarterback. He is not going to be able to hide the obvious strain and pressure of winning now, because for him, this is win now. I mean it. I don't ever want to say literally, but literally, he's running out of chances. And I think you're going to hear it, and it's going to ramp up that pressure. I don't think he's going to be able to gloss over and just say nice things about Dak Prescott and mumbling Mike, because I think it is going to be noticeable how worked up he is about this year. Because he should know, and I think he does, how good his team is. So that's point number one, why there's so much pressure. And I think he's going to make even more pressure on his 15 coaches shows. But you can see it in his offseason moves, which have been smart, which have been desperate, which have been, here you go, win now kind of stuff. And it's been good. The 5 most important players for Dallas next year are, and these are in order, I think. The 5 most important players, Dak Prescott, obviously, Leighton Vander Esch, who I know people don't notice, but he is their run stopper. He's the guy in the middle of the field that allows the rest of them to chase, kind of thing, and be football nerdy here. And he's got neck problems, and you never know how long he's going to last. But when he's on the field, they've got a guy who can stop the run. So Leighton Vander Esch, CeeDee Lamb, Tony Pollard's health, and whoever's handling the place kicking. Every one of them better deliver the goods. Those guys, and that's a lot of players that can carry your franchise. That's not just one. They got a lot of players. They do. They re-signed their backup quarterback. Brilliant move. Cooper Rush, who looks like Van Gogh. Look it up. Smart move. They added Brandon Cooks. Smart move. Very smart move. Leighton Vander Esch was re-signed. Very smart move. They added Stephon Gilmore as a corner. Incredibly important signing. They've done all the right things. They're doing the right things because the owner's old, he's desperate, and he knows the window is closing. And I think they're that good. So put them on a scale. And again, we can debate this. Fine. That's what I'm saying. Get some scales out. Get it going. I think Dallas is by far facing win now in every way, more so than Texas, who should win now, but it's such a cream puff schedule, it's hard to judge.